Yesterday, I ended up doing something like 18 sets of 20 of the GHD back raises. I lost count. I don't know. When you're counting so many freaking sets, you lose count. But I did a lot of them. And the only reason I stopped was because it got to a point where I was experiencing sharp discomfort through the adductors, the medial hamstring area. I think that's a pretty good indicator to stop. Because if you continue doing, work when you're like that, then, tearing a muscle is not far away, I reckon. But that's how excited I was yesterday. I was so freaking excited. I was like a kid. These types of days where you're excited seem to be less and less frequent the more you age. I remember having these types of moments all the time as a kid. The moment you get a new video game, it's like that. You just can't wait to play. And when you play it, you don't want to go to bed. And when you wake up, you quickly run to the PlayStation, turn it on, and you play it again. That kind of feeling. And I think as adults, we don't have moments like this anymore. Sure, we get happy, we get excited here and there, but I was pretty excited yesterday. 18 sets, kind of excited. And then what really surprised me was that this morning when I wake up, I was expecting lots and lots of pain, poor mobility. I was expecting to be locked down. To my surprise, I woke up like nothing happened. Like nothing happened. No soreness at all. Obviously, I've been doing back raises on the GHD now for a few weeks, I want to say. Something like that. So, the stimulus is not brand new. It's not novel. It's not, something that's going to be a surprise for my body because I've kind of been used to it for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is the nature of the GHD is that there's no axial loading, and the way the strength curve is on this machine is also very different, right? If you think about, let's say, a good morning, where the peak contraction is in a good morning, which is at 90 degrees, you go from the squat position, let's say at the top, and you go all the way down. The peak force required in that lift is when your hips are 90 degrees, or when your torso is 90 degrees. So when you get to that position, you are 90 degrees, and this is the longest portion of the lift. This is the end range of the range of motion, and this is where the hardest forces are involved. So this is where you get lots of soreness through the hamstrings, through all sorts of muscles when you are experiencing the peak range of motion. At the end of your range of motion, the peak force. With the GHD, it's not like that. It's opposite to that. So with the GHD back raise, the peak force is actually at the shortest position, not at the longest position. And I reckon that right there is why the soreness is not as crazy as there would be, let's say, in a 45-degree hyper or even the extreme version of all of them would be a good morning. With the 45 hyper, if you think about it, where all you got to do is think about gravity, right? Gravity goes up and down, right? Straight line from up down, right? That's where the gravity is. And so whenever you are perpendicular to that force, you're going to have the most amount of force required to overcome this particular exercise, this position. So in the GHD, that 90-degree thing to the force, the perpendicular, is going to be the horizontal, like when you're fully engaged at the top of the lift. With the good morning, it's at the bottom of the good morning, With the 45 hyper, it's kind of like in between of those two extremes, let's say. So I think that plays a huge role into why I felt the way I felt this morning. And so this morning I was like, okay, I'm not going to push it hard, obviously, but I did 3 sets, warmed up, and then I got with the good mornings, the power cleans, did some squats, and then I went into my heavy benching portion. This is kind of supposed to be a really, really heavy on the upper body, basically bench press day. So I did that. But the whole time I was thinking to myself, trying to break it all down, could I do the back raises every single day? Obviously, you need rest. You need, especially with parameters like you use with the GHD, which is high reps, you can't bodybuild every day. You can't do that. The same muscle over and over again, hitting it over again. So you can't apply Bulgarian-esque type of thinking to everything you do. It's not going to be like that. The idea is that, high frequency training, these ideas are mostly applied to, the whole learning, neuroanagram, making sure you are perfectly firing all of those muscle fibers, motor units at the same time. That's kind of what you're thinking about when you think about high frequency. You're not thinking about tissue growing. It's not going to be growing at a rate that you're imagining. No, bodybuilding is a discipline of smash it hard and then rest long. Smash it hard, rest long, and the resting long is where you are building the tissue. Whether it's a tissue that you're looking for or not, I'm not sure. There's different types of tissue in hypertrophy. There's the sarcoplasmic, which a lot of people are kind of associating with the pump. When you get the pump, you're getting the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which is essentially glycogen storage. It's fluid accumulation around that tissue that is getting lit up. And then there's the myofibrillar, which is, the actual real fibers thickening. And that process is a little bit different. Now, these two things are not 100% mutually exclusive. It's a bit of a wishy-washy thing depending on who you are and how you're composed, fast twitch fibers, low twitch fibers, all that stuff. But that's kind of the general vibe of training. And so if you're interested about bodybuilding, getting the fattest legs, the thickest back or whatever, you need to have periods of allowing that tissue to recover. This is, I'm not somebody that's ever going to say, if you want to be, the biggest, the baddest, just squat every day. That's not the thing. That's never been my motivation either. My reasonings for what I do are different, and I've spoken about it many, many times. So with the GHD, I can't be doing 18 sets of 20 every single day. That's stupid, because when you're doing sets of 20, you are bodybuilding. There's nothing to learn from the GHD. I'm not trying to learn how to do it perfectly. No, if you're doing high frequency stuff, you're supposed to be doing low volume, right? So this is where the singles, doubles, and triples come in. You can't be doing squatting every day and then hitting squats of, sets of 20 every single day. It does not work that way, because the metabolic demands of high volume are just gonna require time. It's not the same as when you're working with high frequency, low volume, high intensity, heavy weight, where you're doing a single, but really you could have done 3 or 4. It's just different. And so sometimes I catch myself out thinking, yeah, let me do it again. What are you doing, dude? You've already caused the damage. You have to ease up. Even though I'm excited and I want to do it every single day, all day, but you can't do it that way. It doesn't work that way. But anyway, the fight to use the GHD is very bright. I definitely want to do it every day, all day. So I think for now I'm going to do it every day, but as a warm-up type of thing. Come in, do 3 sets of 20, get a nice little warm-up, and then go about my business. And then on every other day, for now, let's see how I go. I'm going to try and hit some nice volume and actually make a workout out of the GHD alone. So that's the plan. That's what I'll be doing tomorrow. Appreciate you guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.